Gary! Gary!
In the morning sun, where the flowers bloom, colors burst like a painter's dream come true. Roses red and violets blue, every petal whispers something new. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello, plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello, plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Indoor greens and outdoor scenes, design your space, let your garden dreams glide. Personal touch with our garden design, free sessions to blend within your budget line. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello, plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello, plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Now everybody, let's say hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello, plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello, plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Indoor greens and outdoor scenes, design your space, let your garden dreams glide. Personal touch with our garden design, free sessions to blend within your budget line. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello, plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello, plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Now everybody, let's say hello, 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 plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello, plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Now everybody, let's say hello, 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 plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow.
Hello, hello.
Hello everyone, welcome to our Monday Q&A session with Chris. If you have any pressing garden questions that you'd like to put to Chris, then please join us on any one of our social platforms. In the chat you can leave your question and we'll plough through them over the next 45 minutes.
Yeah, and what I've noticed lately is that we had a very dry winter. We had the first part of spring was incredibly dry and we didn't have our normal September rains, and now we're getting lots and lots of rain, and I'm noticing a bit of mildew appearing on the roses, and it's quite a humid wet time. And I guess the great thing is that where it looked like we're heading into a drought, it doesn't look like a drought. And actually what's interesting, I saw a thing on the ABC and they said it was back in the early 70s was the last time that Lake Eyre was so full, and when it was that full we had the wettest year in recorded history. And so it could be that we're in for quite a wet summer. So it could be, there'll be a few mildew problems around and things like that, but the great thing about having the wettest year would be it's a great year to be out there planting and getting plants established. It doesn't, if we have it could be like a summer of storms that we're having where it gets hot and then you get a big rain. So it'd be interesting to see how it pans out. But last time Lake Eyre was this full, because basically what Lake Eyre as full it is now means that Australia has a giant inland sea that's and it's hot out there, and the stuff's steaming up like that and comes towards the coast and it cools down and rains. So,
all right, well we have already got a whole bunch of questions that are queuing up now, so we'll jump into it. So we've got a question here from
hold on a sec.
Just
one sec. I'll give you a couple of extra plants, like a couple of those red callistemons, tomatoes and callistemons, okay?
Could you please tell me when you will restock Yuma crepe myrtle and how much shipping on 2 plants of 8-inch pots would be? Preeta, we'll just need to know.
What's the name of that particular crepe myrtle?
Yuma, Y-U-M-A.
Y-U-M-A.
We'll have a look for it while we're on here. We'll have a look and see what we can get our hands on.
That's not a common one, but we'll see if we can locate that.
Yeah.
Have we got a way of contacting you if we?
Now, look, I think I'm just going to put it out there that for these kinds of questions, probably the ideal situation would be if you could email us, and if you've got a pen handy, sales@hellohelloplants.com.au, and just let us know what it is you're looking for and where it needs to be shipped, and we can give you a response to that.
Yeah, and actually, I'm glad that you asked that question though right now, because I can tell you something, and that is that we've got an acre and a half with probably about 100,000 plants in it right now, and it's probably probably the best stock retail nursery in Victoria, with an incredible range of plants in there and a very diverse range of plants. But we don't have everything that everyone wants.
Yeah.
And we do a thing, and I'm always wanting to find out which suppliers have got what, and we do a thing called a price and availability. And so people say, oh look, I need this particular olive, I need this particular crepe myrtle, or we want some alum, some of these plants here, and our staff do what's called a price and availability, and they come back with a price and availability. They go and look at the various suppliers and see what can be found, and that price and availability is kind of it's a thing that I invented, and it's kind of a unique product, and we can do, and there we are, we've just P&A'd them, and we can get them from Conifer, we can get it from the supplier, and they'll be about 1.5 meters tall, and they'll be about $149 each.
Yep. Okay. So the crepe myrtle supplies got them, and we could make a special order for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say there's very few of them around at the minute.
Yeah. That particular one's quite uncommon, but we have that unique ability. I've got staff who spend their whole day researching things for the customers and finding plants that can't be found.
Yep. And so if you have a particular special order, that's something that you don't see on our website, something you've seen and you'd like to know if we can get it in for you. If you contact us on 03 9359 3331, and our telephone number and our sales email is on the bottom of the screen. So Chris, if you go like this, that's exactly where it is. There it is there.
Right, there we are.
All right. So, Preet, I hope that's been helpful
And
for
so
you.
we're happy to help anybody who needs to find a particular plant or plants. Or a maybe what it is other people want to find, you know, some people might want to find a 2 metre silver sheen Pittosarum or a little tiny English box, whatever it is, whether it's something rare or a particular size. If you can't see it in our catalogues, if you can't see it in our store, you can ask for what we call a P&A, which is a price and availability, and our staff will track it. If our staff can't find it, it means it doesn't exist.
Yep. So now, Preet, just as an FYI, so that Yuma is, it's only available in like a 12-inch pot at the minute, so that'd be somewhere in the range of about $140. Now, I know that you had asked for an 8-inch pot. There aren't any 8-inch pots available in the market at the moment, from what we can tell, just, you know, at a glance. But if we can find an 8-inch pot, then we'll track that down for you. But if only the 12 inches available, we could still, if you're in Victoria, we can certainly still ship it. But we'll have to do a little bit of research on that one.
Yeah, and there's lots of other varieties available in 8-inch. So what you could do is either upgrade and go for a bigger one, or change your colour slightly and go for a different colour. So
Yuma is a soft pink, very similar to Sue.
Right, okay.
Yes. So Sue is SIOUX.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful soft pink.
Beautiful, yeah. All right, okay, so SWAT cat. Which plants to plant near my recently planted magnolia?
I wonder if it's a deciduous magnolia or an evergreen magnolia.
So SWAT cat, would you be able to let us know if it's a deciduous magnolia or an evergreen magnolia? And also, whereabouts are you? That will help us to give you some better suggestions.
Yeah.
Or more tailored suggestions. All right.
Actually, but let's imagine, just for a moment, let's imagine it's an evergreen magnolia, and my two favourite plants to plant near my evergreen magnolias when I do garden designs are your plum gorgeous loropetalum. I think that purple goes lovely with the magnolias, looks very, very classy.
Yep.
And then what I'll do is, in between the plum gorgeous, say at the front of the magnolia, I'll put a stripy white liriope. And the stripy white liriope and the purple and the dark green of the magnolia, lovely colour combo.
Yes, because the stripy white really brings a bit more light to that area.
Yeah, that's right. And then those plants don't mind a bit of a shadow from the magnolias, and they stay nice and low and don't sort of dominate the magnolias.
All right, excellent.
But if it was a deciduous magnolia, I would probably look at something different.
All right, now Preet has just got back to us about that crepe myrtle, and Preet is in Brisbane. We do ship to Brisbane, but we'll just need to get a price, and we'll need to try and find something that's in a smaller size for you.
Yeah, and perhaps put it in the post and keep it economical.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, next question is, okay, so Renee Mead, hedges twiggy at the bottom, but top heavy with foliage. How to correct this? Now, it would be great if we could know what the plant is.
Now, one of the most common hedges around, and this would apply to most hedges, I've got a neighbour's begone lily-pilly hedge at home, and quite a few years old, and a few years ago it had gone bald at the bottom and bushy way up high where we couldn't even enjoy it, and we're looking at the neighbour's fence and it wasn't really doing its job at all. And I got someone in and I chainsawed it off to about 1.5 metres in height, and that caused, what's important is when you do it. I did it in September. In September, your bark's not going to like if you suddenly chainsaw something back in February or March or something like that, the sun can actually burn the bark and really do a lot of damage. Yeah. So because that bark's not used to bark is fine in the sun, but it has to be used to it. Like it's sort of like putting your skin out in the sun suddenly. So I did it in September when the sun's nice and mild, and also when it would start and you had a full growing season ahead. And do you know, by I reckon the middle of January, my hedge was just about back to normal, but thick and bushy. It shot all over, and I had a nice thick bushy hedge again. So it was, and basically, with most hedges, a really hard cut, and say for instance, say you decide that the hard cut is for you. I'd reckon now it's a bit late for the hard cut. And so what I would do is I would fertilise my hedge, I would water it, I'd give it a really good season, I'd really build up its strength, and then when end of September comes, whoop, off it comes.
Right.
And then having, beefed it up ready for it, it'll bounce back and do a beautiful job in no time.
Yeah, because it's been prepared.
Yeah.
So that's great.
So preparation would be good, and if you gave me an exact variety, I would tell you with that, but I think that idea would work for most evergreen bushy hedges.
Fantastic. All right, so over on TikTok, we've got Kat. So, and sorry, guys, I'm just going to come back to Kat in a second. But when you're putting questions in the chat, it'll be really helpful for us to let us know where you are. And if you've got a particular variety that you're dealing with, like, box hedge or Japanese maple, weeping cherry, just let us know exactly, give us those details because it will help us to narrow down our advice. All right, so Kat says, my weeping fountain cherry never blossoms. I've had it for 3 springs and fed it constantly. Fed it constantly and it never blooms.
What I would do is I would start feeding it right now with Miracle Grow, and I've had things that were refusing to bloom. And what is Miracle Grow? You buy it in Bunnings. Miracle Grow has got almost toxic levels of phosphorus in it, and it puts the brakes on. Often a reason why plants may not blossom is that if they've got lots of nitrogen and they just grow and grow and grow and grow and grow, and they don't bother about producing flowers. But a good hard blast of phosphorus with a lack of nitrogen can kind of give them a swift kick in the behind and make them turn around and start flowering.
Yep. Okay. All right. And so Chris, just looking here, crepe myrtle that also hasn't started to come into leaf now. What would you say about that? How would we? If the bark?
I've had it happen before.
Yeah.
And it's when it's one that I had that I mistreated and left it laying around and then planted it late, and I was real bad to it, and it didn't leaf up till nearly Christmas time the first time. Yeah. Now it's well and truly in leaf now. It's nicely established, but I'd say very hard. I can't remember the last time that a customer lost a crepe myrtle.
Yes.
Like, I can't remember that. Very hard to kill. I would tend to suspect that under severe stress, like I had one that I was meaning to plant, didn't get around to it, it was just laying on its side in the paddock for ages, and then eventually I grabbed it one day and it was a big one. I craned it into its position, planted it, watered it, fertilised it, and it came in and flowered and leafed up around Christmas time.
Okay.
And so I think stressed, like that one was severely stressed.
Yeah. Severely
stressed, they'll flower late.
Right. Okay.
Flower leaf late, and the thing with crepe myrtles is that they actually their branches look and feel almost dead when they're not leafed up, and so you can very easily get the idea that your crepe myrtle's dead. But I mean, I'd buy a tat ticket if my crepe myrtle died, because I'd reckon I'd be at 1 in a million.
Fair enough. Well, that's a great answer. Thank you so much. All right. Sir Fartsalot is with us on TikTok. Welcome. My natives I got from you are all doing well. The honey eaters are bending the paws over. That sounds like a great problem to have.
What did he got from us?
My natives.
I
think the kangaroo paws. And hang on, I'm just going to scroll down to see if there's another comment on further. There's no further comment down below, but the honey eaters are bending the paws over, and I think that might be the kangaroo paw flowers.
Yeah, that's really. You know what's interesting about that is that I remember one time I had to wait over at Broadmeadows City Council Hall to meet somebody or something like that. I had to sit out for half an hour, and I sat out in this little tiny garden bed in the middle of a big, hot, sunny piece of asphalt. And after a little while, I started to notice all the birds. There was all these birds singing and jumping up and down, and they were coming down out of the tree and landing in the bushes, and they were collecting honey and things like that. And it made me realise that you don't have to plant many natives to bring around the native birds and wildlife. Like this was just a tiny island in the middle of an ocean of asphalt, and it was inhabited by lots and lots of birds.
Yeah.
And so. it really, with natives, it really is easy to start attracting a bit of wildlife, and it really is worth taking a little corner of your garden and putting, you know, a couple of trees, a couple of bushes, and a couple of little ground covers and things like that that are natives, and then you'll start enjoying the birds yourself.
So true. I mean, it's amazing how the difference that just a couple of plants can make.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
So farts a lot. I think that it's probably a really good sign that the birds are bending your kangaroo paws over because
Yeah.
they're tasty. Kangaroo paws are obviously thriving and they taste good, so that's what the birds are in them for.
Yeah, great.
Excellent. Okay, so Susan, can you get any ficus white lightning?
Let's try.
Yeah,
Let's
okay.
try. I haven't seen it around for a couple of years, but I'll go back to the last guy I bought it off. White lightning, and
All right, we'll have a look for that, Susan.
hey,
Now,
can we get someone to Google right now
Yeah.
whilst we're doing this, and we'll just show them how good our P&A service could be.
could be. All right, no worries. Well, I will. I'll get onto that while we're going through questions. Karen Webster, hi Karen. Karen has asked any kangaroo paw. Now I don't know if Karen is writing that in reply to Sir Farts a lot because he was talking about the paws
But
bending
we
over.
have
But heaps.
we have quite a few kangaroo paws here right now. We normally have an enormous range of kangaroo paw, but in spring the demand for them was crazy, and we don't have quite the range. But I think last time I looked, there was 5 or 6 different types down there, and a lot of them were the kind of the smaller types, which were really popular.
All right. Now, all right. Let's see what else we've got here. All right. So, Asher Pearson in Adelaide needs suggestions for full sun, morning to night, next to the pool area. Nothing thrives there.
So full sun.
Full sun, Adelaide, and it's next to a pool area where we're having some trouble.
Okay, next to the pool area, full sun. The thing that does great in Adelaide is your ficus.
Yep.
And standard ficuses are lush and green and would look really, really nice by the pool. And what's good about standard ficus, you trim the head on it, you can keep the head down to a certain size, and you can keep them quite neat and quite small. But what else would you put in full sun, full hot sun? Like Adelaide really, compared to Melbourne, Adelaide is hot.
Hot, dry.
Hot,
yes.
hot and dry, yeah. So it's quite a savage climate. So the other thing that you could go for there is it's Max Cook, isn't it?
Max Cook, yes.
Yeah. So you could do. There's a beautiful photo.
It's a crashula.
Yeah. There's a jade or a crashula called Max Cook, and it grows into a lovely ball, and that mixes up really nicely with a silver wave succulent, and then you could put something green in there like a foxtail fern, an asparagus foxtail fern, and then you could put a little bit of chalk stick in and do a mixture of that there, and then you could punctuate it with some standard ficus, which are really, really good to stand up in the heat. Or the other thing, a little bit hard to get, would be because you need something tall to punctuate it. Standard ficus could be good actually, because you can trim them up. Say if you trim up the stem 4 foot tall, then it's not climbable, so the kids can't climb in and out of the pool.
Yes.
So out of the pool area. So I reckon the crashula, the crashula Max Cook, the chalk stick, the crashula Max Cook, the chalk stick, the silver wave succulent, and the foxtail fern, combined with some nicely spaced out standard ficus, could make a really nice garden.
And what about tiger grass as well?
Actually, yeah, if you want something that kids can't climb in and out of the pool area with, and you want it evergreen and you want it lush, I find tiger grass is really good. We've got it beside our pool, and what I like about it is that everybody says I want something that doesn't lose leaves, and there ain't nothing that doesn't lose leaves. If it's got leaves, it'll lose them. But what I love about the tiger grass is they're great big leaves, and almost every time I go to clean the pool, there's either 1 or 2 tiger grass leaves in there, but there's never 50 or 100 or 80 or 60 or anything like that. There's always 1 or 2 tiger grass. I look in there, there's always 1 or 2 tiger grass in there, and I think that's great because you know, it's not hard to clean up 1 or 2 tallgrass leaves. So it never seems to drop a lot into the pool.
Yep.
And it's very green and very lush looking, and it looks a bit like a bamboo, but it's not really bamboo, and it doesn't spread like a bamboo.
All right. So yeah, now I've got an answer for that ficus white lightning.
Really?
Well, it's not the most positive answer, but the reason that we don't have it available on our website at the moment is there's none available in our national network. So I think that there's probably some in production somewhere, but it just might take a little while before it comes back into the marketplace.
Yeah.
Growers like to hold on to them until they're well enough established that they're safe to go into your hands.
Yep.
Yep. So it's something that if you go onto our website and you hit the, I think we have a notify me when next available button, notify me when available button, then that will give us a prompt so that as soon as it is available in the market, we will grab some for you and notify you. All right, so moving on to next question. Right. Okay, here's an excellent question. CC, Chris, can you use Miracle Grow on a Banksia to encourage flowering?
Yes. Yeah, you can. I've used it on all different things, and I found it to be very workable. I think it was designed in America to work on annuals, and what you do is you plant your petunias or your marigolds, you'd hit them hard with the nitrogen fertilizer, get the bush to grow quickly, then you'd hit it with your Miracle Grow and get it to flower like mad.
Yep.
And I think that's what it's designed for, but I've used it on different hardwood plants and things, and it's always worked for me.
Excellent, thank you. All right, so Sam Fanthridge, I live in regional Victoria. Do you deliver, please? Now, Sam, quick request. If you could just pop in the chat where you are in regional Victoria. You don't have to give us your address, but just the town, generally speaking. We can give you a more precise answer.
Yeah, so we deliver over almost everywhere in regional Victoria. And what's interesting, if you spend over $300, we basically deliver down to Leongatha, up to Terralgan. We deliver up to Shepparton, up to Shepparton, Bendigo, and then down to Ballarat and down on the Surf Coast. All of that we do free to people spending over $300. So, but we still deliver out to Mildura. We just charge a bit, or we put it on a carrier.
Yep.
So we do right out to Mildura, right up to Albury, Wodonga. So we cover really most of Victoria, and if you're outside our free area, which is where we go, that free area we do once a week everywhere. And what's amazing is I've got a van that's not even a year old, and I think it's on about 80,000 Ks. So that we do a lot of Ks.
We rack up the Ks
during our free deliveries. Yeah.
Okay, now, so over on Instagram, it's me, Donna. You've been waiting a while for us, Donna, so thank you for being patient.
Hello, Donna.
I have, sorry, I'm just need to, I have a small morning tree in a wood container, and I would like to put it in ground, but we have clay soil. It needs good drainage. Any suggestions?
I'm not sure what a morning tree is.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Anyway, well, look, I think...
But generally speaking...
Yeah, generally speaking,
dig a great big hole, mix lots and lots of potting mix on, finish it up in a mound and plant it up in a mound, and you'll be safe.
Yes. And also, if you're a little bit adventurous and you don't mind digging a bit deeper, it's also a very common tissue. Very common practice in Europe and the UK to dig a nice deep hole and then put some really good crushed stone at the bottom of your hole to help with the drainage, and then you fix your soil on the top, and then
I once was doing a tree research project, and I had some Chinese scientists come and stay with me, and one day they said, look, we want to plant a tree today, and they went out and they said, where can we put it? I said, just there. And anyway, they started digging a hole, and they were digging all day, and eventually I couldn't even see them anymore. I just saw dirt coming up out of the ground, and they dug down about 3 meters deep, and I thought they were crazy. And what was interesting is that that tree grew absolutely fabulously. It loved. So I don't recommend digging 2 or 3 metre holes, but I do reckon the bigger the hole, the better.
Yes, definitely. All right, and we do sell what we call coarse grit.
Yep.
Which is basically a crushed rock that is there to help you with drainage. So you can mix that into your soil. All right.
But I think by adding lots of potting mix and finishing off in a mound and then having them sitting up nice and high, you're very, very safe from wet feet or anything like that.
Absolutely. All right, so the Coalition of Breeders on Instagram says, hello.
Right.
All right, so Coalition of Breeders has recommended go a 1/3 cocoa coir in the soil for Donna.
Right.
Yep, I do use cocoa coir in my potting mixes and sometimes in the soil because it does help to improve. The worms love it.
Right.
In fact, in my worm farm, my worms live in coconut coir.
Right.
Yes. So, all right. So, and Coalition of Breeders says Chris is the best. That's very
Thank
nice.
you.
All right. So, let me see what else have we got here. Bianca. I might have skipped over a couple of questions, but I'll go back to the top in a minute. Bianca, my magnolia teddy bear is losing so many leaves at the moment. Is it just the season for it, or am I doing something wrong?
No, look, it's an evergreen and leaves get old. And I was actually noticing the ones I've got here in pots are losing a few at the moment. I think it's very much the season. And as long as you've got plenty of new leaves and buds and shoots coming, I think you'll be fine.
Okay, brilliant. And now, okay, in Leah's World is on TikTok and has asked, what 3 to 4 metre high hedge can I grow next to a big gum tree in Melbourne? Thanks, Chris.
Okay, Sweet Viburnum. Sweet Viburnum does really well under trees. Now, when you watch it now, a cunning idea that you could do is you could plant like little 8-inch pot Sweet Viburnums or everywhere else, and then when you get under the gum tree, you could plant 10 or 12-inch pot ones because there's nothing that won't grow slower under a gum tree than if it wasn't under a gum tree. So what you can do is plant some bigger ones and then be very generous with the water and fertilizer on those bigger ones, and then you find your small ones that aren't under the gum tree will quickly catch up and you'll end up with a nice even hedge. And I believe that under a gum tree, my 2 favourite varieties are either Sweet Viburnum or Cherry Laurel. They do great under gum trees.
And we saw a beautiful laurel hedge the other day. Okay, so now Asher is in Adelaide and was asking for suggestions about the things that might thrive in full sun. And Asher's come back with another comment and said, I've had variegated ginger and lady di creeper, and they were okay but not thriving.
Well, I think the variegated ginger is not going to enjoy the full sun, but the lady di, if you dig a nice big hole and loosen up the soil nicely, water and fertilizer, loves the hot sun. Excellent.
All right, Maverick is on TikTok, says, hi.
Hi, Maverick.
You are so nice.
Thank you.
And Asher says, thank you very much. So, we are, all right, so in Leah's World, so Leah was asking about, Leah asks, what could be the reason one of my established camellias yellowed and died, but the ones next to it are okay? I watered and fertilised them all the same.
I wonder, if that happened to me, I'd be wondering if something, a bit of calcium hadn't got there or something like that, because they love their, and what would be more interesting, the solution, what I say to people, is down at Bunnings you could buy fine crushed pine bark, just pure fine, and that's quite acidic. You'd find that to have a pH of about 3.5.
Yep.
And what I would do, if that was happening with my camellia, I would cultivate around it, just shallow cultivation. They've got very shallow roots, so I'd go shallow cultivation. I would put a really good dose of Osmocote on it, and then I'd top that up with a layer, maybe an inch deep, of really fine crushed up pine bark. So that, and as you water, and then plenty of water through the summer, and as you water it, acid will be going down. So, and what camellias love is they love acidity, and they love their nitrogen fertilizer. and they love that bit of mulch and a bit of moisture. So and also, like, it's a funny thing, if you ever go to a nursery and they've got lots of camellias there, and if you look in the bottom of the pot of camellias, you'll see more Osmocote or more Nutricote or whatever coat you're using than on any of the other plants in the nursery. Basically, growers use lots and lots of fertilizer on their camellias. So up the fertilizer, up the water, and use the fine crushed pine bark on them.
Excellent. All right. Now, so we're going to head back. Well, we're going to stick on the camellia topic. Now, we in the Instagram chat, Renee Mead had asked about a hedge that's twiggy at the bottom, top heavy with foliage, and Renee's come back and let us know that she believes it was a camellia. So,
Right.
relevant. And I guess Renee, we might have just given you the answer to that question.
Yeah, well, so what I would do if I had that problem, I'd spend the next 12 months feeding it up and getting it ready, and then I'd do a hard cutback. I'd like fertilizer, the crushed pine bark, the water, get it really beefed up, and then cut it right back, and you find it'll shoot back and grow back. Not as quickly as a lily pilly will, but it'll still shoot and grow back, and it'll fill up. You might have to cut it back to maybe down to 1 metre tall.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. Food for thought there. So, Merlin Earl is on TikTok. Would papyrus work well in a rain garden? Does it need to be constantly submerged?
No, it doesn't, but it does need to be constantly moist.
Yes.
So
A
I
nice
see.
boggy spot.
Yeah, nice boggy wet spot. It's designed to grow on the banks of the Nile.
Yeah.
It's warm and wet.
So if you have a neighbour who hasn't plumbed their rain tank in, that might be the right plant for that spot.
But if you put it in your rain garden and then when it's not raining you keep it well watered, it'll thrive there.
Yeah. So supplementary water when it's not raining. All right. J-Time on TikTok. Any tips for relocating mature plants slash hedges?
A lot of hedges won't really transplant very well. And what you really have to review is digging up a big plant is costly in terms of effort, or if you're paying someone to do it in terms of money. So, and then if there's a low chance of survival, then there's a high chance that you're losing that effort. So I would imagine in most cases it would pay to replace it. Like the types of things that could move well, and you'd need to be in good soil and know what you're doing, and do it at the right time of year. The sort of things that are going to move well, your evergreen magnolias dig up and shift well. Some of your conifer varieties like a smaragd or a Spartan will dig up okay. Smaragd better than a Spartan. So there's certain things you could talk to a nurseryman, there's certain things you can dig up and transplant, but things like lily pillies and most ficuses and things like that don't transplant well. Mm-hmm. And so the cost and effort of doing it could easily take you nowhere, and you'd be better off to put that same cost and effort into some fresh new plants.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to do it, I think what you said before about like boosting the health of that plant in the 12 months before, and then selecting the right time of the year to do it, would help you out if if the juice was worth the squeeze.
Yeah, that's right. So and what if I was going to advise somebody, I'd want to know what the variety of the plant was, and I know the probability of most different plants. I've dug up and moved lots of plants myself and learned about it, and then I'd also know roughly what, depending on where that person lives, I'd know roughly what time of year to do it, and so, but it's a matter of doing it the right time of year, doing it in the correct manner, and doing it on a variety that's likely to survive that. And you'd want it to be in that size bracket. Normally, part of the process would be a hard cutback. Mm-hmm. But like one thing that digs well at a large size is a Photinia will dig well at a fairly large size. So you can dig up quite large Photinias.
And I think, Chris, another really important aspect of that is, I think when we transplant things, we like to trick the plants into believing that they're still in the same spot, nothing's changed. So part of that is getting your preparation for the new site really, really good. Yeah. And getting the job done really quickly, efficiently. And if you have to, to keep the root ball nice and moist, maybe even wrapping it in hessian if you've got a bit of time and just keeping that hessian moist.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope that's been very helpful. Marnie Thomas on TikTok. I have magnolias that have dark spots on the leaves. Can you help?
They sound like. Actually, I noticed. I've got some. What are they? Black tulip magnolias with black spots on the leaf, and basically.
In your garden.
Yeah, and anyway, it's a bit of a fungal problem. Best thing you could do for that, it's not a terrible problem. It's not like it's about as serious a problem as acne. What I do is I'd give them a real good feed, and what you'll find is as we move into the warmer weather, the new growth won't have those black spots.
Yeah, fantastic. And you could also use a probiotic for your soil. That will help the plants. Okay, so Ruby the little Shih Tzu. Is tuckaroo a hardy evergreen tree that would be good for privacy and the area gets sun and shade?
Yes, they're a very hardy evergreen tree, and what's good is they're not a real big evergreen. They're a sort of a medium-sized evergreen. They're very thick and bushy, and they'd be excellent for that job. And the council in my area, just near here, have planted them as a street tree. And and they do very well with very little care.
Fantastic. So Ruby the little Shih Tzu has said, I've pleached my lily pillies and they look awesome. The trunks are thin though, and are supported. Will the trunks thicken and be able to support themselves?
Yes, they will.
Yeah.
That what you'll find is as the hedge grows, they'll just thicken and thicken, and they'll thicken quite quickly.
Okay, so that's just in response to Callie's question. I'm planting lily pillies along my 7 metre long fence. How many lily pillies would I need, please?
If I was just growing a thick bushy hedge, I'd plant them 1 per metre, and if I was pleaching them, I'd run them 1.2 to 1.5 metres apart.
Okay, beautiful. All right, so Marie, can you tell me why my tomato leaves are curly?
I would say it's probably a little bit of a fungal problem at this time of year, like with all the rain and everything that we've been having.
Yeah.
It'd be a bit of a fungal problem. But I probably wouldn't spray it or worry about it. I'd probably feed them and the warmer weather will come and they'll grow out of it. That's what I reckon.
Yeah. Merlin Durl says thanks for answering the question. Kalila Fitzgerald. My sister-in-law's name's Kalila. It's an unusual name, but a lovely one. How can I ensure to propagate a Daphne? I have so much difficulty and I've only succeeded once.
Even nurserymen have trouble propagating Daphne. And I would say that your best way of doing it would be layering. And there's an old-fashioned type of layers that my dad used to do. And what you do is you use you do a little scar on the branch, just a little shallow scar down through the cambium layer, just a tiny one, maybe an inch or so long, and you put on a bit of indole butyric acid, IBA or rooting hormone as it's sometimes called, and then you pack some sphagnum moss around it, and then you put a plastic wrap around that and seal it up at either end so that the moisture and that's sealed in. And you wouldn't want that in the hot sun. You'd want that kind of in a bit of a shady spot.
Yep.
And then you leave it for sort of probably 6 to 9 months, and then take it out, and you'll have roots on that, and then you probably trim that branch back a little bit and plant it. And
just for the layperson, so when we're talking the cambium layer of like a tree, the cambium is just that outside coating, which if you scratch away, because if in the case where we had that crepe myrtle that hadn't come into leaf yet, if you scratch the bark just a little bit, you reveal
the cambium layer, which is it's a green. Normally, most branches are structured where the wood is white, and then the cambium layer is a shallow green layer over the white wood, and then you have your bark on top of that.
Yeah.
And you cut through the bark to get to the cambium layer. Excellent. And it's normally a cambium layer that'll produce, and I guess the other thing too would be a node. If you did that scar across a node and had a node inside your layer, you'd have a much greater chance of getting roots.
And the node is where the leaves come out.
Yeah.
Yep. Fantastic. All right. So we've got Ness. If I cut a large hedge of Pittosporum, I've let get out of hand down to about 2 meters. Will it live?
Yes.
Yes.
I once cut 8 or 9 meter tall Pittosporums down to about half a meter, and they shot back like crazy.
That is wild, but it's good that works, because that gives us confidence that this will work too.
Yeah.
All right, so Peach Bellini 6969, what a legend. Thank you for your advice and knowledge, Chris.
Yeah, thank you.
And Kelly also says thank you. Now, we've got, okay, Geraldine is on Instagram and has asked, what do I plant in a full shaded spot under some lemon scented gums beside a fence? Garden beds are about 1.5 meters wide and about 14 meters long.
Okay, so say it's a fairly dry, harsh sort of a place, and being under a lemon scented gum could be extra dry and extra harsh. Rhagodia is a beautiful moundy sort of silver grey bush, and it's actually edible. You can chop bits off and eat it. And then if you were to mix Rhagodia with a bit of the Urena ground cover, the Myoporum urena, and some Tanicas, and sort of do it all very informally, that could look really, really nice. Because you've got the silver grey, the Myoporum is a very, very flat, rich green, and then the Tanica is a nice, tall, bright green that it grows about knee high and waves in the wind. And those three plants in a difficult under tree location are a really good choice.
Yeah, fantastic. So Shafali is on Instagram. My bare rooted plum that I purchased 2 months ago is not growing enough leaves. What can I do to fix this?
I think a bit of liquid fertiliser.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like Power Feed or something like that. And what it is that most people don't realise this, but a solid fertiliser like an Osmocote actually takes, if you put it on the roots, for it to go down, get into the roots, then travel up through the tree up to the top of the tree, takes 6 weeks. Now that's a long time in a tree's life. Now liquid fertiliser is fabulous stuff, and if you put liquid fertiliser on, and if you do it like today is a great day, if you're here in Melbourne, you do it when the wind is low and the evaporation rate is low, so that the liquid sits on the leaves for a long time. It sits there, like if you go out on a hot windy day and the liquid sits there for 30 seconds and then dries off, you're not going to get much food, because the liquid fertiliser only works while it's liquid. But I used to wake up, when I had a growing nursery years ago, I'd wake up on a foggy morning and I go, wow, and I'd be out there and I'd be spraying liquid fertiliser everywhere, because I know that on a foggy morning the plants might stay wet for 2 or 3 hours, and in that 2 or 3 hours, that whole 2 or 3 hours, they'd be taking out the food. But what's interesting is that liquid fertiliser can come in through the leaf and be helping that tree within seconds. So instead of taking 6 weeks, it actually starts working in seconds. It starts working almost immediately.
Yeah.
So liquid fertiliser, when something's in a bit of trouble, you can't be really, like if you had plenty of time, everything would enjoy liquid fertiliser all the time. But liquid fertiliser, particularly when you've got something that's shocked or struggling or stressed or something like that, or as this plum tree is, liquid fertiliser is the answer. But the trick is to put it on when the evaporation rate is low.
Beautiful. And we have had a question from IGN Acacia Cortez, and the question is, what country are we in? And we are in Australia.
Yeah. We're
in Melbourne, Australia. So I hope that's helpful. Okay, so Shafali has asked, what is the preferred fertiliser? Is sea salt good?
No. Sea salt is excellent, but sea salt, I call it a plant tonic. It's wrong to think, and often I get people that have been fertilising all year with sea salt, and so when it's a liquid and it works really, really well, and I know a lot of it's one of the more nurserymen use it when they're transplanting something and it's suffering a little bit of shock. They use sea salt. It's a very popular product, but sea salt fabulous product, but it's a tonic, and so if you're using sea salt, you would also use a liquid fertilizer or a solid fertilizer as well to give it the food that it needs. So it's kind of like, if you related it to a human situation, it's like a herbal tea. Now, herbal tea can really be great for you, but it won't feed you. And so, you know, you need your bit of roast lamb or your veggies or whatever it is, your beetroot salad or whatever it is that actually feeds you. So sea salt's great, but it's not great as a fertilizer because it's not a fertilizer.
Right, okay, beautiful. Now, Joey on TikTok, I apologise, I nearly missed your comment. It's not a question. Chris, you're the best. I've developed a crazy interest in gardening because of you.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm glad that I can inspire somebody. People have inspired and helped me, and I'm happy to pass that on to others.
It's a very nice thing to do. All right, so AT, I have ornamental pears, and one keeps coming back every year with yellow leaves. What could be the problem there?
It could be something like it has a bit of wet feet, like maybe poor drainage in that spot.
Yeah. So
and
not enough oxygen.
Yeah, not enough oxygen. So perhaps a lack of drainage or extra hard soil hasn't been able to spread its roots out.
Yeah.
I remember one time a chap bought all these advanced conifers off me, and he rang me up one day. He said, look, and they were quite expensive. And he rang me up and said, look, you know, those terrible expensive conifers. He said, one of them's turning yellow. And I went out there and I looked down the whole row, and I said, that one's got wet feet. And he said, look, Chris, he said, you're an idiot. He said, because they've got all these other ones here and they haven't got wet feet. He said, how could that one have wet feet? And I said, well, I don't know. But I said, it's got wet feet. At any rate, we went over there, and it turned out that he'd planted them all with an excavator, and the excavator had put a horrible lump of clay in around it that was completely blocked the water at that spot. And when we pulled the clay out, there was masses of water going everywhere, and it was actually sitting in water. But what the moral of that story is that I've had lots of circumstances where plants have been good and then one's been crook, and then I've dug and I've found wet feed or hard soil or a completely different soil situation under that one plant. And often people sort of say, oh no, it's all the same, but often in the course of doing earthworks or something like that, one little spot can get a different lump of it could be sitting on a rock or have a lump of clay under it or something like that. So next winter I'd be having a real good dig around that, and you might even, if it's not real big, you might even dig it up, dig a big hole, fix up the soil condition and replant it. And I'm sure that if it didn't have something restricting it, like wet feed, big rocks, hard soil, whatever it is, if it didn't have something restricting it, it wouldn't have that problem.
Excellent. Yes, okay. All right, so now we've got David Lee, and I really, please, I really hope that this is David Lee Roth. I'm just going to pretend it is, even if it's not. Hello, I saw you on YouTube. So surprised to see you here on TikTok.
Right. I get around.
He does get around.
Yeah. For an old nurseryman, I get up on more platforms than most old nurserymen.
That is true. Now, we are getting to the pointy end, so I'm going to speed through these questions very quickly. I've got a 7-metre retaining wall. I'd like to place silver dichondra. How many would I need for a 7-metre retaining wall?
If I wanted, you could do it with 6 or 7 of them, and a cunning idea is that you instead of letting them fall straight over the wall, what you do is you train them to run up and down the inside of the wall, and you get a really thick cover. And once they get really thick and strong, and they love the heat, give them water and fertilizer and they love the heat, they'll come over like a waterfall. But I'll say one word of caution about that whole idea is that I've had a couple of customers with big retaining walls in a spot that was facing a prevailing wind, and they never came over. They kept like one place I went to, I did an enormous wall of it. I designed it for them, and I didn't understand about the prevailing wind, but terrible wind blew up this valley, and it never came over the wall. And above the wall she had silver dichondra going the other way because of the wind, and it didn't come over. So these days, when I do cascading silver dichondra, I try and do it in a spot that's not no wind, but just not crazily windy. And the other little comment I'll make is that we've found some beautiful pictures on the web that maybe Jodie could even hook you up with, where people have alternated Cousin-It, which is one of my favourite cascaders, with silver dichondra, and that is an awesome combo.
Yes.
So I have a slight note of caution. Planted facing a terrible prevailing wind, your silver dichondra won't work. So when I've got a customer with a super windy spot, I tend to use convolvulus, or I tend to use prostrate rosemary, or I use Cousin-It in super windy spots, and then I use my silver dichondra in spots that aren't like just a little bit sheltered. And then I love the idea of combining Cousin-It and silver dichondra. Was that a short enough answer for you?
Yeah. No, I can't share the picture in the chat. But I mean, if anybody comes along to one of our garden design sessions, I pull that picture up quicker than you can say how soon till this chat ends.
Yeah. And silver dichondra, it's an incredibly popular plant. Do you know I've got 2,000 silver dichondras in pots on my farm at the moment?
I believe it.
And I would hope to get that up to 4,000 or 5,000 in the peak of summer, so I've got plenty to get through the next season. So silver dichondra, incredibly popular plant. You can grow it in pots and have it cascade over the side of the pot. You can do, and we've got a great video on silver dichondra too. So it's a fabulous plant, easy to grow. And now's the time to be starting getting your silver dichondra in, because it loves the heat and it goes crazy in the heat.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so I'm going to call it 2 more questions.
Right.
So we've got Provincial Meets Hampton on Instagram. Hi, I've just dug up the clay garden bed. I'm replanting my hydrangeas, so the hydrangeas are the priority here.
Yeah.
I put sugarcane mulch at the bottom for aeration, then topped it with potting mix and perlite to improve the drainage. Would you recommend using anything else like compost, gypsum, garden soil improver to help the hydrangeas grow well in this clay soil?
What I would do is I would make sure that clay is actually better than what people think it is. So what I'd be doing is I'd be chopping up the clay and mixing the potting mix through the clay so that the roots have got access to the clay is good. So the roots have got access to the clay. Your potting mix has got a great texture. The potting mix has got a great texture, but it's gutless compared to the clay. So if you chop up your clay, and if you chop up your clay and you put the potting mix through it, and then use plenty of Osmocote or some other slow release fertilizer, and they'll do wonders for you.
Okay. Now the last we've got 1 question left, but we've got 2 questions that are relevant, so I'm going to give you a double-barreled one.
And then we'll do a bonus one.
Okay, all right. So Jason is on TikTok and has asked, I have aphids and ants showing up on my citrus trees. What would you recommend? And the following question is from Crowbar on TikTok, who says, what causes orange tree to lose most of its fruit?
Right,
so
okay.
the aphids and the ants to start with.
Okay, the ants are only there because of the aphids. So what you've got to do is get rid of the aphids. And what I found to be really good, you go into Bunnings, you get a little bit of pyrethrum, and then what you do is you mix up a nice hefty dose of dishwashing detergent and throw a little bit of just a little twist of pyrethrum in it, and you spray your citrus tree or whatever is badly affected by aphids. You spray it once, and then you spray it again about 36 hours later, and that knocks out that next generation. And you'll find that that'll really clean up without making what you've got unedible, because some of your toxic poisons can make it unedible. So basically, so what you need is dishwashing detergent with a twist of pyrethrum, spray it on with a nice fine spray, and do it 36 hours apart, because there'll be that poison being so low in toxicity won't knock off the eggs that are laying there. So, but when they hatch, 36 hours later, you're killing those little bugs too.
And the oranges dropping?
Oranges dropping. Generally, that's a kind of a nutrient problem, and the sort of thing I'd be doing is I'd be cultivating around the base of the orange. I'd get rid of all the lawn and that. I'd cultivate a circle, maybe 4 or 5 foot round, and have nice loose soil. I'd top dress it with lots of Osmocote. I'd use 6 or 8 teaspoonfuls of Osmocote. I would then get some good quality compost and put a good layer of nice quality compost on top of that. Up my water a little bit, and that a nice healthy, vibrant tree with lots of compost, lots of fertilizer will tend to hang on to its fruit.
All right, and the final question.
This is the bonus one?
This is the bonus question, and this is from Artemis on TikTok. How do I make my hydrangeas bushy?
Bushy?
Yes.
Right, okay. So,
Oh, and also, Bianca has said, our neighbours have chickens. Should I ask them for their chicken poop or for fertiliser?
chicken poop is fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, nice, fresh, healthy chicken poop. So making your hydrangeas bushy, what I'm going to imagine that what you've got is a macrophylla hydrangea, and I'll just bring a macrophylla hydrangea over here so you can see what I'm talking about. This is your typical macrophylla hydrangea, and they have a sort of a ball flower, and what now if you were to get this hydrangea like this, what you do is you cut off the this is amazing, it's got heaps of flowers on it, but what you do is you cut you cut off half of your shoots and cut them in half, and what will happen is that you'll get 2 or 3 for every one you cut off, you get 3 or 4 new shoots growing, and that'll give, and each of those shoots in about 18 months will terminate in a nice bushy flower.
Right.
So it's a matter of cutting, and where people go wrong is they'll cut all of them off in one time, and when you cut them all off, you've got no flowers for a year.
Yes.
But if you just cut half of them off, and then those half will and then water and fertilise them well, so they've got lots of growth potential, and they'll shoot back and become beautiful big bushes.
Yes. Now, Chris, really important, you've got that hydrangea there. It looks amazing, as you said. I mean, we have what people can't see is behind us. We've got dozens and dozens and dozens, probably hundreds really, of these hydrangeas here, and it looks like Mother's Day. It's absolutely beautiful. It looks like a florist has been in here. So if you're keen to get your hands on some of these beautiful hydrangeas in lots of different colours, then you can pop down to 1477 Sydney Road in Campbellfield, and you can get your hands on some. How much are they there, Chris?
These ones here are $34.99, and they've got 6 or 7 flowers on them. But
Yep.
what I was going to say about hydrangea, what we've done is hydrangeas are super duper popular at the moment, and people want to know which ones they can grow in the sun, and they want to know which ones, what colours they can have, and what heights and sizes and things like that. And what we've done is we've got over 30 varieties of hydrangeas in stock in mass.
Yep.
So we've got heaps of them in stock in mass, and the whole idea of what we're doing is to give people. Most nurseries only have 1 or 2 different sorts and don't know too much about them. So what we want to do is give people, and what we've done is we've got a hydrangea page. Yeah, beautiful.
And Mickey's jumped out of her seat to go and capture.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, the amazing hydrangeas we've got at the front. I mean, we've got unbelievable hydrangeas.
We've got actual truckloads and truckloads and truckloads of hydrangeas, and we've got all different sorts. And then what we call it a hydrangea spectacular. And what you can do, say you can't get down here, say you're living in Albury or something like that, and you can't get down here. Not that some people don't come down here from Albury, but say you're in that situation, you can go to our hydrangea page and you can read all about our 30 different hydrangeas and look at the pictures of what sort of flowers and work out what are the right hydrangeas for you.
Yep. Now, we've come to the end of our Q&A for today, for this week, but don't forget we are back with a Q&A next Monday, and so we have 45 minutes, sometimes an hour, where we can answer all of your burning questions. If you've got burning questions, you can send them through to us or pop them in the chat. We'll pick them up. On Friday we go live at 12 p.m. With our Growers Direct flash sale, and we've got some exciting things coming up. If you think those hydrangeas look good, wait till you see the Friday sale.
Yeah, that's right. The Friday sale, what happens is that this week I'm out to the growers and I'm finding out what they want to move along, where their surpluses and different bits and pieces are, and we put together 100 different specials, and on Friday I'll walk you through each of those specials, and the idea is that so that people watching that Friday show can help their grandkids, their auntie, whatever, help themselves and put together a garden project, a really good garden project on the cheap. Because there's 100 different items, and we make sure there's trees there, ground covers, we make sure there's a little bit of everything there.
Yeah, and we've had some amazing things in here.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings us to the end of the show for today. Thank you all so very much for joining us. Thank you for your questions, and if we've missed any, maybe copy and paste them into your notes app and pop them in the chat next Monday, 12 p.m. when we go live for the next Q&A session. But please do join us on Friday at 12 p.m. for our Growers Direct flash sale.
Great, thank you very much. And thank you everyone for your questions, and also for the thank yous and the acknowledgement I've been getting as well.
Yes, it's lovely. Thank you all.